All right, let's talk stainless steel frets. I've been super curious about them for years. In theory, they are a fantastic upgrade for every guitar. They last forever, they need minimal maintenance, and the feel remains consistent. They don't get all grimy. All great things in theory, so why are they so controversial? What's the catch? If you've ever researched stainless steel frets online, you've likely seen just how divided people are on them. Some claim they're fantastic and they'll never go back. But I feel like just as many people online seem to claim that they can actually ruin the sound of your guitar, which obviously, when I was researching it, made me go, whoa, do I really want to go through with this? So years ago, I was in the market for a refret and I decided to opt out of a stainless steel refret. Because of that, I saw these negative posts and, obviously you don't want to ruin one of your prized guitars. So fast forward a few years and I'm once again in a position where I want to get a refret done. But this time I've decided I'd like to know for myself and see firsthand if it's something to worry about or not. And of course, as always, take you guys along for the ride with me. That's kind of the MO of this channel. So the guitar in question is this. It is obviously a Les Paul reissue. And I absolutely love this guitar. Really, it has one flaw to me, and that was the skinny vintage fret wire that Gibson started using on the 1952 to 58 reissue Les Pauls. I'm just not a fan. Really, it's really the only thing stopping it from being the perfect Les Paul for me. I just much prefer regular R9 style frets. So the concept is super simple here. Play a few different things using varying levels of gain and see if we hear a consistent difference or not. That's it. And the key there, of course, is for it to be a consistent difference. We're looking for a tonal signature that follows the fret material. So the amp I used is my Suhr PT15, which I use on this channel pretty often. I went direct straight out to my DAW using a 4x12IR, and that's just to maintain maximum consistency. I used all three channels to give a bit of a variety, and I also incorporated a couple drive pedals here and there just for some additional variance. Finally, the guitar had a fresh set of strings installed right before I recorded both sessions, so that was to try and remove that variable. Really, the only thing I couldn't completely account for was my own playing being exactly the same. That's always a case with any of these comparison videos. I will say that I tried my best, but at the end of the day, humans play guitar, not robots. So the human variable has to be present really for this to be realistic. You're going to be playing guitar, not a robot. So can you hear a difference when a human's playing? All right, I think that covers it. So let's hear how they sound.
As is typical with my comparison videos, I'm leaving my final opinions out of it. I don't want to sway what you did or didn't hear, so go ahead and comment below what your impressions were, whatever they are. I'd actually love to know if you were surprised or not as well. So very curious to see what you guys have to say. Before wrapping up, there are a few things I do want to mention, not as a person listening to the edited clips, but instead as the player in the moment. I know my guitar, right? This Les Paul has been played by me a ton over the years, so I am extremely familiar with how it sounds. A little background of, the timeline for this. I recorded the first half Friday night, dropped the guitar off Saturday morning for the refret, got it back Sunday morning, so one day later with the new frets installed, and then I recorded the second half literally right when I got home. So that's about as back-to-back as, what's reasonably possible with a refret comparison. So as the player, I was honestly expecting to hear a distinct difference acoustically with the guitar, but to be totally honest, I noticed no change. I've heard about there being this like ping or zinging sound with stainless steel frets, especially acoustically. But apart from a bit of a extra fret buzz, because the guitar came back with lower action, I didn't really notice anything. Plugging it in and doing the excerpts, I again, to be honest, didn't notice any real change live playing the guitar, right? I can genuinely say I was hunting for it, searching for change, but really I didn't notice anything. Now, listening back to the clips, there may or may not be a detectable difference. That's really up to you and your ears to decide. But I just want to be clear, as the player in the moment, I did not have this aha moment, right? Of like, okay, there's the difference. And while I'm at it, I do want to address the consistency or inconsistency of my playing. I tried really hard to play with the same dynamics and attack, but like I mentioned at the top of the video, I'm human, so my playing, of course, varies. Now, I know some will probably comment saying the test is invalid because one or two excerpts weren't exactly alike. So I just want to get ahead of that and say this. If the subtle changes in how a human plays the same part outweighs the change in tone from the stainless steel refret, the stainless steel frets really are nothing you should even consider worrying about as far as tone is concerned. In addition, at the end of the day, the question is whether there is a consistent tone difference between nickel, silver, and stainless steel frets. If the fret material imparts a signature on the tone of the guitar, that should theoretically, carry through regardless of subtle playing differences. So, and last but not least, I do want to quickly just speak on the feel difference in case anyone is curious. I've heard some people say, including actually some of my friends, that stainless steel frets are too slippery, right? For me,
honestly, the feel is more or less identical to nickel silver frets when they've been cleaned and polished, i.e. smooth. There's none of that, grinding feeling you can get with nickel silver frets, but to be honest, I think that's a huge plus, not a negative. So all in all, that consistent feel coupled with the larger fret wire, it really did exactly what I was hoping it would. The playability is finally on par with the guitar's tone. I'm super stoked with that. If you're curious, I went with Jescar 47104s for the frets. They're about perfect size for Les Paul, in my opinion. Not too big, so it's 0.047 tall, 0.104 wide, that's in inches. Really about R9 sized, I'd say, just about perfect. Feels very natural. So I think that does it, guys. I hope this video was at least a little interesting and helpful for you. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you like seeing this sort of content. I've done a number of very nerdy side-by-side comparisons at this point, probably a dozen PAF swap comparisons in the Les Paul and the 345, a massive ABR1 bridge comparison in the Les Paul, and so on. I'll put a few in the description if you're curious. And finally, these videos take a ton of effort, so if you're really feeling generous and kind, I've got a link in the description to buy me a coffee. No pressure, of course, but it is greatly appreciated. All right, until next time, see you guys.